This is like the first step of installing a fuel pressure regulator. So I've got myself over here a box with just a normal fuel pressure regulator. Got it off eBay, apparently they're pretty good. A lot of people saying they haven't had problems with it. And an oil-filled gauge in there. What I've gone and done is purchased a couple of things. So here we have a Turbo Smart adapter that takes off the original fuel pressure regulator here. So this thing, which is still full of fuel, that there failed on me. So I've just bought a adapter here. This takes it from that to an 1/8 inch. Then from there I've got an 1/8 inch to 5/16 barb 90 degrees. So that means I can keep the original fuel rails intact. From there I'm planning on installing the fuel pressure regulator on the factory return line, which is this line here. Comes out from the top. This is the second line down on the intake, so that's that hose there. Also this vacuum line here, because all that does is run from a straight pipe underneath the intake straight into the side of this. I'm going to take that off and then reroute it so it goes, so normally your intake sits here, and now I'm going to route it to up here where it's going to plug straight into the top of this, hopefully. You don't really have to take off the intake, it just makes it a little bit easier to reach this, but I've taken it off because I've had a coolant leak on the crossover pipe, so I've just repaired that. Alright, now that I've got everything else plumbed up on the intake and that's all back on, as you can see, well, actually it would be pretty hard to tell, but the adapter's down there, and I've taken off the original vacuum line because that all that goes to is just straight to the regulator anyway, so you can just take that off. I'm going to be using that to reroute it to the pressure regulator. Anyway, so what you want to do is find a spot to mount your pressure regulator. So this is an ej20g, so my fuel lines go in and out on the same side, which just happens to be on the passenger side. So I've chosen this location to put it, as my outlet is on the back here, which means I go straight up to there, and my inlet is on the side here, so that can go back to here. So if you're doing this specifically on an ej20, I'm pretty sure most of them are the same. Like I said before, this is a 20G. So the top line is your inlet, center one is, well, the second one down is your outlet. So this one is the one you want to install the pressure regulator on, alright? The bottom one I think is vacuum, but I'm not sure. Yeah. So you just want to find a suitable place to put it. I've just tech screwed this straight into the strut tower, and it doesn't intrude on anything because I've got a short-ish tech screw just to hold it there. Obviously you want to make sure everything is accessible, you can read the gauge. This is in a position where obviously I can read it pretty easily in the pressure ranges I'm looking for. And I'm going to plumb it all up, so I'm going to take the line from here straight to that and then out. Now I've gone over here and I've plumbed every single line back up to where it was. Obviously I'm missing some stuff, is just to test out the pressure regulator. So once I've got everything plumbed up, obviously my in's here, that goes out from that second one there, and then back up through to this top one here. And basically what you want to do in order to set it, so this thing has, so you can turn this backwards and forwards or whatever, like tighten it or loosen it to change how much pressure it holds. Keep in mind, so my fuel pump's off at the moment, and this will slowly drop as obviously the fuel's going back through the fuel pump, because it's not constantly pumping fuel. So what you do in order to check, alright, go to your ignition, whatnot, and you want to keep an eye on the gauge. See, I've put it in such a position where I can see it. I mean, that's by luck pretty much, but I can see from here. So you turn the car to on, and I've got a Walbro 255, so my fuel pump's a bit louder. I'm not sure whether you'll be able to hear it. And I can barely hear it, but you know. So basically what you want to be able to see is, if you look at the fuel pressure, when you flick the key to on and your fuel pump primes, you want it to be sitting at around 40 psi, which is what my car is set to. Obviously you look at whatever your car is and you set it to that pressure, but because mine's 40 psi, slowly adjust this until it reads 40 psi while the fuel pump's priming. Don't set it to 40 psi while the fuel pump's off, because obviously it's not going to be able to do that. And it will instead read higher numbers, which you don't want, because that means you can burst fuel lines and it means you're not running the correct fuel pressure for your injectors.